In our zeal to reach the world, we should not skip over those who are known by us, but remain unfamiliar to us. Welcome back. We're going to have a very interesting topic to discuss today, which is why was Samaria mentioned in the Great Commission and not the Galilee? Now, growing up, I had a misconception about the old-time Israel, thinking that it was a land of the Jewish people. As I've gotten older and wiser and more handsome and so forth, I've learned that I was really wrong about that, as I have been wrong about many things. The truth of the matter is that during the lifetime and ministry of Christ, the entire nation of Israel, what we would call a nation, was more Gentile than it was Jewish. In fact, the only seat of Judaism in the entire country was Jerusalem. But it was also the home to thousands of Gentiles, including Roman forces that occupied it and had their headquarters there. So when Jesus gave the Great Commission, why was Samaria mentioned and not Galilee? Well, sometimes we can only guess why God does what he does. But in the targeted regions of the Great Commission, three specific areas are targeted. First of all was the city of Jerusalem, which is here. Then there was the province in which Jerusalem was located, Judea, which is here. And then there is Samaria, which is mentioned, and it's there. Now, Samaria was a land of mixed breed Jews who were despised by the Jewish religious leaders because their forefathers had intermarried with Gentile pagans. They didn't have much of a choice because they'd been carried off by Sennacherib, the Assyrian king, and forced to do that. But many of them had returned. And the Samaritans as a race were therefore considered so detestable that one high priest made it a crime for another priest to even pass through Samaria. And if he spent the night there, he could be executed. And there are records that indicate that happening to one young priest who got sick and wounded or hurt in some way and could not travel through and had to remain there overnight. When he got back to Jerusalem, he was executed. Now, in the Great Commission, Jesus skipped from Samaria to the uttermost parts of the world. Why did he do that? He was seemingly ignoring the Galilee, where he grew up and, frankly, where he performed most of his miracles and did much of his teaching. Why would he skip it? Well, perhaps he didn't need to mention it or to target it. The Galilee was the first place he went after his resurrection. Most of the people who saw him, except for those in Metro Jerusalem, would have been Galileans. They didn't have to hear about the death, burial, and resurrection. They had seen it with their own eyes. And in Scripture, those who follow Christ routinely witnessed to those whom they knew. Cornelius arranged for his entire household to learn about Christ. The maniac of Gadara met Christ and witnessed to all his compatriots. And those whom Jesus healed spread his name throughout the regions where they lived. Not only that, Andrew brought his brother Peter to Jesus, and Philip brought Nathanael. But Samaria was not a place that Jewish converts could typically have friends or relatives. It was what we would call today flyover country to the devout Jews. So unlike the Galilee, it had to be deliberately targeted. I suspect Christ may have been making this point that in our zeal to reach the world, we should not skip over those who are known by us, but remain unfamiliar to us, especially when they're so geographically near us. How strange it is that we send more missionaries to Mexico than any other country in the world except for Brazil. But we don't evangelize the Mexicans who cut our lawns, build our houses, and shop in our stores. Perhaps the lesson to be learned is this. In our rush to evangelize our already evangelized Jerusalem and the ends of the earth, let's not forget about Samaria. After all, they're at our doorsteps, just on the other side of the tracks.
Sometimes we equate Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria with our hometown, our state, and then the rest of the country. That usage is incorrect because my Samaria is likely to be your Jerusalem. His emphasis was not on distance, but on reaching those with ample exposure, limited exposure, and no exposure. Examine your missions giving. Where are you on the map? Are your funds targeting the never reached, the partially reached, or lands already saturated with the gospel? Are you sprinkling the world with the gospel as a farmer irrigates his fields? Or are you pouring your buckets of the water of life on one small plot, creating a mud hole? Become a sprinkler, not a busted pipe.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode in our Understanding the Great Commission series. If you'd like a copy of the book, it's available in paperback, audiobook, and digital download. Just click the link in the description below. Thank you for watching.